Below is part one of three. In the fading light of an autumn evening in a quiet American region near Lake Willowbrook, the stillness of the countryside was shattered by an unspeakable act. Stephen Teller, a well-known owner of a thriving furniture factory, had set out for a simple duck hunting trip with close friends. A routine escape from the pressures of business life that would soon descend into mystery and terror. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, the laughter and camaraderie of a leisurely hunt turned abruptly grim. Rather than the expected crack of a hunting rifle, a single fatal shot rang out from behind. The bullet, experts later determined, was not fired from an ordinary hunting weapon, but from a standard-issue military rifle. This alarming revelation set off a chain of events that would captivate both local law enforcement and a community eager for answers. As investigators combed through every detail of that fateful day, curious inconsistencies began to emerge. Stephen had been accompanied by 5 companions on this trip, a mix of friends whose loyalty had long been trusted. Among them were 2 women, one of whom was his devoted bride, Jessica Teller, and 3 men whose roles in that hunting excursion would soon be scrutinized. The morning's planned festivities were suddenly transformed into an intricate puzzle of motives, misdirection, and carefully concealed evidence. Rumors flew and suspicions grew as officials discovered that the fatal shot bore the unmistakable signature of a military-grade firearm. Yet not one trace of gunpowder was found on anyone's hands. A puzzling finding that hinted at a premeditated act executed with meticulous care. Deep in the investigation, whispers began to circulate about one particular detail. The only person recorded as sporting gloves during the hunt was none other than Garrison Cole, a longtime friend of Stephen's. This seemingly small note fanned the flames of suspicion as forensic experts posited that the killer must have taken extraordinary precautions when committing the crime. Moreover, an intense search later uncovered a sawn-off rifle near an isolated reservoir, a location not far from where the fatal shot had taken its toll. The discovery of this weapon only deepened the mystery, for although it appeared to be the murder weapon, its surfaces bore no fingerprints or traces that might identify its user. As the investigation pressed on, the twilight blended with the murky depths of secrets hidden in the woods. Every twist in the case led police and forensic experts deeper into a labyrinth of evidence that defied simple explanation. How could a man, seemingly set on an innocent hunting escapade, become the victim in such a perplexing case? The silence of the reservoir, the misplaced emphasis on a glove-clad suspect, and the absence of any powder residue all converged into an enigma that left investigators chasing shadows in the darkening landscape. Continued in part 2. Below is part 2 of 3. In the ensuing days, the investigation spiraled into a complex web of hidden relationships and unexplained coincidences that left the community reeling. Law enforcement officers, led by Detective Mason Reed, a seasoned investigator known for his relentless pursuit of truth, dove headfirst into every twist of the case. Mason uncovered that aside from Jessica Teller, the grieving widow, there was another figure whose connection to Stephen had once been seen as unbreakable. Larissa Monroe, a respected colleague from the furniture factory. Larissa's involvement in the day's outing, though seemingly innocent, soon raised red flags when subtle inconsistencies in her account began to unravel under pressure. Her statements hinted at tensions that went far beyond mere professional disagreements, suggesting that personal motives might have intermingled with the tragedy. While Mason and his team meticulously retraced the steps of the ill-fated hunt, new pieces of evidence emerged from the scene near the secluded reservoir. An exhaustive search of the surrounding area revealed traces of disturbed earth and faint impressions from boots, a clue that hinted the murderer might have approached the victim from an unexpected angle, crossing a shallow pond to move silently among the shadows. This crucial detail appeared to corroborate the theory that the killer had taken careful measures to avoid leaving behind any incriminating traces, notably by wearing gloves designed to mask any fingerprints or residues. Further forensic analysis deepened the mystery. Experts confirmed that the bullet, selected with calculated precision, unmistakably matched the caliber of a military surplus rifle. This fact added an extra layer of complexity. In a hunt meant for leisure, why would a military-grade weapon be present at all? The emerging evidence pointed toward a deliberate artfulness behind the crime, a plan codified and executed by someone who understood the meticulous nature of investigation techniques. Significantly, Garrison Cole's unusual insistence on wearing gloves, a detail that might have been dismissed in a less thorough inquiry, now loomed ominously as a key indicator of premeditation. As the investigation advanced, Detective Reed started to piece together a disturbing portrait of the relationships among the group. Motives that had once seemed mundane now glinted with hints of envy, betrayal, and secret alliances. The notion that someone within Stephen's inner circle could harbor grudges so deep as to commit murder, while ensuring critics remained none the wiser, became a chilling possibility. The mysterious, almost surgical precision of the killer's actions, crossing water, avoiding any telltale marks, and leaving behind a weapon that seemed almost too convenient, reinforced the notion of a calculated and cunning criminal mind at work. With each piece of evidence seemingly pointing in conflicting directions, the captivating mystery only deepened. The absence of typical forensic markers on the sawn-off rifle and the oddly sanitized state of the crime scene left Reed grappling with more questions than answers. What did the careful avoidance of detection say about the killer's background and motive? And how did intricate personal dynamics among old friends and trusted colleagues evolve into an elaborate, deadly ruse? The deeper the inquiry went, the more the quiet American woods and tranquil reservoir became a stage for an unfolding narrative of murky truths and elusive shadows. Continued in Part 3. Below is Part 3 of 3. As the investigation wound deeper into a labyrinth of secrets and subtle betrayals, every seemingly insignificant detail turned into a piece of the deadly puzzle. Detective Reed remained steadfast, piecing together clues that spanned murky waters and complex human relationships. The revelation that the weapon was a modified military rifle, concealed behind layers of careful planning, only intensified the scrutiny on each member of the hunting party. With tensions mounting and hidden agendas coming to light, the question of who among them was capable of orchestrating such a cunning murder loomed ominously in everyone's mind. Reconstructing the crime scene with painstaking accuracy, forensic experts were able to map out a chilling timeline. It became evident that the killer's precise movements, including the methodical crossing of that subtle, waterlogged barrier, were the result of thoughtful preparation. The absence of incriminating residues, combined with the strategic use of gloves, painted a picture of a perpetrator with intimate knowledge of police procedures and forensic science, a detail that raised even more questions about the killer's prior experiences and possible military ties. As the threads of evidence connected, the investigation began to hint at a motive buried deep within the intertwined lives of friends who now stood on opposite sides of truth and deception. Amid the emerging theories, personal fallout began to disrupt familiar relationships. Jessica Teller, devastated by the sudden loss of her husband, found herself grappling with the painful reality that the man she adored might have been involved in business and personal conflicts concealed beneath a veneer of normalcy. Larissa Monroe's cryptic comments and inexplicable actions during the hunt intensified suspicions, while Garrison Cole's insistence on being the sole glove wearer justified a closer look at his calm demeanor amid the storm of allegations. Each conversation, every glance in surveillance footage captured near the reservoir, added layers of complexity to a case that defied an easy explanation. In a town still reeling from the shock and shrouded in whispers, the investigation became a mirror, reflecting how ambition, loyalty, and deep-seated resentments can collide into unimaginable tragedy. As Detective Reed threaded together the narrative of that fateful day, he couldn't shake the feeling that every answer the inquiry unearthed only led to more questions. The picturesque serenity of Lake Willowbrook and its surrounding wilderness, once a backdrop for leisurely hunts and friendly banter, had been irrevocably transformed into the stage for a calculated act of violence. In the wake of a meticulously planned homicide, the line between friend and foe blurred, leaving behind an unsettling legacy of mistrust and unresolved mysteries. Now, as this perplexing saga draws to a close in public memory and forensic evidence, one must wonder, could it be that the true story lies not in the obvious, but in the hidden, unspoken truths that each of us carries? In the heart of this quiet American town, where darkness and deception lurk behind every familiar face, can the final question ever truly be answered? Or will it forever leave us questioning the nature of trust betrayal, and the cost of secrets.